Overall, bless this door that it may prove ever open to joy and love.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you all for coming this afternoon. We're sorry. We apologize for the rain. This was planned for an outdoor event. All Philadelphians are grateful to George Nugent, the vision of George Nugent, which brought this building to life in 1895 as a home for retired Baptist ministers. George Nugent lived next door at 231 West Johnson. He was a prosperous, successful textile merchant in East Falls, and he was a dedicated deacon of the Baptist Church. He lived, he purchased this land and bequeathed $400,000 in his will to build this building in 1895. I guess is Patsy Chester here? Patsy's here? Okay. We would like to start this with a simple blessing. But before I introduce Mrs. Patsy Chester from the Grace Baptist Church. Now the Grace Baptist Church is in the West right next block. I would just like to acknowledge our partners in this renovation. First of all, the National Park Service, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, the City of Philadelphia, the Office of Housing and Community Development, and of course, PNC Bank. On a personal note, I would also like to thank our neighbors, not only for putting up with the dust and the noise and the trucks for the last 15 months, but for stepping in 10 years ago to save this building and the Presser building next door from demolition.
I would like to also thank everybody for coming out today and braving this wonderful weather we're having. I can tell you that a little over a year ago, we would not all be so comfortable in this room. It had been a very cold, dark, wet, and frankly scary place. I remember on numerous occasions, Rick Sudol and I would show up here to give a tour of this building to folks, and at first sight, they would sort of stand back and say, you know what, that's okay, we don't need to go in. It was really that dreadful, to be honest with you. There were a number of people that doubted this property would actually even survive, and rightfully so. Buildings like the Nugent building are incredibly challenging, and they require an awful lot of work and an awful lot of support. But what is not in doubt is the result. We have today a building that we're all so happy to be in that is probably one of the most magnificent and majestic structures in the city of Philadelphia. It came with a lot of hard work, and it was worth it. We were able to basically take a building that had slowly become an eyesore and potentially even an embarrassment to this community, and transform it back into the source of pride that this building generated 100 years ago and will now generate 100 years from now. So there are an awful lot of people to be thankful to. I look out in the crowd and I think just about everybody falls into a category that deserves a lot of credit and thanks. In the interest of time, I'd really just like to limit it to 3 if I could, before we let our wonderful speakers each say something. First is the neighbors, as Rick mentioned. Without the neighbors, the neighborhood groups and community groups that banded together and worked as a team to keep these buildings from otherwise imminent demolition, we wouldn't be here. Secondly, the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, led by its wonderful director, Mr. Brian Hudson, and certainly last but not least, the City of Philadelphia, the Office of Housing and Community Development, and the Honorable Mayor Michael A. Nutter, who will be here, I believe. Without each of those, without all 3 of those together, this didn't happen. We would not be here. So I offer my thanks for your vision, for your outstanding stewardship in getting this building saved. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our first speaker. Our financial partner in this property was PNC Bank, and today Ms. Kofi Lindsay from their community development group, the Vice President of Community Development, is here to say something.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of PNC, I'd like to thank you for joining us here on this historic day. It's wonderful to be here with you, with Councilwoman Bass, with Brian Hudson, and to let you know that PNC has been privileged to work with Rick Soudal and Nolan Properties, the developers of this particular building. Philadelphia is a city of neighborhoods, and Germantown / Mount Airy, depending on who you ask, is one of the city's oldest and richest neighborhoods. Full of history and culture, Germantown boasts underground railroad stops and historic textile mills. And presently, Germantown is experiencing a resurgence that is bringing more development and vitality to this area. Nugent Senior Apartments is a major part of that very resurgence. I want to personally thank Rick and Nolan Properties for saving this property from demolition and for restoring the historic qualities of these buildings. PNC is a proud partner in the development of Nugent Senior Homes, which will not only provide affordable apartments for seniors, but will allow its residents to live in these beautiful homes with dignity and pride. PNC is proud to be part of preserving the past to bring affordable housing opportunities to the present community. Thank you. Who do I pass it over to?
Thank you very much, Kathy. And depending on who you ask, whether it's Mount Airy or Germantown, I can say that unequivocally the 8th District is very, very fortunate to have one of the most responsive and proactive city council people in the city of Philadelphia. With that, I'd like to ask Councilwoman Cindy Bass to say a few words.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is really an honor to be here. So I'm having a great day. I know it's raining out, but it's like sunshine to me because whenever, as an elected official, whenever you get to cut a ribbon or stick a shovel in the dirt, you're so excited about it. I just left another event with Brian, and we had the opportunity to do both. And so here we are now in this historic property, which has been just, it's magnificent. Wouldn't you agree? Isn't this absolutely everything that we want to see, that we deserve for our seniors and for our community? Let's give it a round of applause. What our seniors deserve. Because for those of us who have been around for a minute, I remember when there were people sort of wandering up and down Johnson Street who were living here, and people who needed a lot of help. And to see this come full circle, it really is a testament to the work of all of the folks who made this happen. I want to thank Nolan Properties. I want to thank Rick and Jim and your entire team for making this happen. I also want to thank some of the other partners that I know really were intricately involved in this project. And I want to give a shout out, I see, to Shatira Murphy, who's here, from State Representative Rosita Youngblood's office. Rosita was on this when a lot of other people weren't. So I have to really say that. She's not here. But I remember, before taking elected office, that Rosita Youngblood was really laying the hammer down in Harrisburg, that someone had to get in here and do something about this property. So I want to recognize her as well. And right behind her, I see Councilman Frank DeChico, who has done so much for building in this city, for developing this city. And I don't know what role he may have had in this particular project. None, he says. But he's had a role in every project. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. He's been involved really in moving Philadelphia forward in a significant way. And so I just really want to thank all of the partners, PNC, Grace Baptist Church, Rosa Woods, who's a neighbor around in this area, neighbor, committee person, and actually on my staff as well. And so we're just very excited about what's happened here. We look forward to working with the folks who are here in this building, of organizing and making sure that there are services provided. We did a series. We do a series called Coffee with the Councilwoman. And we did one at the building across the way here about 6 months ago. And it's where we come in, we bring our constituent services staff, we sit down and talk to folks individually, answer any questions, bring additional support services. We look forward to doing that here as well. So you'll be seeing us. We're part of the neighborhood, a part of the fabric of the community, and we look forward to being here very, very often. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I am really proud to introduce the next gentleman. He has a very large territory, the entire state of Pennsylvania, but he's here to share a few thoughts with us today. The Executive Director of the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, Brian Hudson.
Thank you, Jim. Those chairs are very comfortable, by the way. Patsy, that song was fantastic. What a blessing. I felt like it was in a movie or something, so thank you very much. Another hand for Patsy for that song. It's a pleasure for me to be here this afternoon. Obviously, from our standpoint at the PHFA, I think we have the easy job, quite truthfully, of allocating the credits. It's a very competitive process. We're funding now 1 out of every 3 applications to tell you how competitive it is. I know some of the developers are submitting applications 3 and 4 times, but I do want to recognize a member of my board who's here this afternoon that sits in on that process, so he knows exactly how competitive. John Payon is a board member of PHFA. John, thank you. Thank you for being here. And the development officer who provided the boots on the ground, if you will, to do the underwriting of the project, Doug Halton. Is Doug here? I know he's here somewhere where he's hiding back there, so I want to thank Doug for all of his work on this development too. Jim, I know what you meant when you're talking about looking at the project beginning from the outside. I saw the pictures and I toured the area, but as you may know, Pennsylvania has some of the oldest properties as well as the highest elderly population in the country. So we think our seniors deserve this. That's where PHFA has been dedicating its resources. So congratulations to you and Nolan Properties for doing another fantastic development for our seniors. Congratulations to you. I think all of the partners have been mentioned. I certainly want to acknowledge again PNC Bank, who's done a fantastic job, been a fantastic partner. Keep buying those credits, by the way. Ed Hillis from Domus Construction is here. I know Ed's done many projects with PHFA also, and I see Harold Burke, another partner for PHFA in the back there. Harold, good to see you also. So you hear the theme. It's a partnership, but this is a great development. It shows you how our seniors should be living. And from our standpoint at PHFA, I want to thank you, Councilman Bass, and certainly the city, the Office of Housing and Community Development. I know the mayor's on his way, but Deborah McCullough has been a big partner of ours. We compare notes. We all know we're dealing with limited resources when it comes to funding affordable housing. So we're looking at how can we do it more efficiently to provide this type of housing for our seniors, and that's what we're going to continue to try to do. So thank you for being our partner, and I know you have another application in. We're looking forward to the next one. So let's keep it going. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I'm running late, but it's just one hell of a day out there. But we will not allow a little extra liquid sunshine to dampen our day in this exciting moment at the Nugent Senior Apartments in our ribbon cutting. To our Councilwoman Bass, thank you so very much. Can we please recognize our Councilwoman Bass? Jim, thank you for your leadership and for your work, for the commitment to the community here. I do remember this groundbreaking, and I think you probably heard me say a time or two too many. Yeah, I really love groundbreakings, but I really love ribbon cuttings, because that means the work is done. And that happens because of a lot of people here in the room, a lot of agencies back home. Councilman DeChico, I see you back there. How are you, sir? Yeah, I understand. You heard there was a party at a great place and decided to show up. I understand that. I understand. I do want to recognize Brian Hudson, who is, I'm not here, who is considered one of the finest in the country at what he does. Brian is the leader of the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, and so many projects and programs and developments happen because Brian Hudson gets into the details. He understands what a deal is about, but it's beyond. This is not about a deal. This is about people. It's about people's lives. This is about living in dignity. It's about restoring places that have been around for a while and making sure that they can be there for generations to come. And we save a few. We don't save them all. Unfortunately, one of the great aspects of Philadelphia is that we're a great old Northeast city. One of the challenges of Philadelphia is that we're a great old Northeast city, and we have the infrastructure to show for it. So, Deb McCullough, I don't see her, but I can't imagine that either she or some of the folks are not here. So I want to thank the Office of Housing and Community Development. I believe I am possibly the last speaker. I may be the only thing standing between you and the ribbon cutting, I assume. So thank you for putting me on the program last, and I just really wanted to get here. I just left a school way up in the Northeast at George Washington High School, not in the 8th District, talking to young people about their futures and the need for adults, like all of us here in the room, to do the right thing by way of them, and so that one day they can take all of our places and run the world, because that's what they're planning to do. So I apologize for running behind. This building, this area has incredible architecture and building stock in this particular section of the 8th District. This one had fallen on some really tough times, and it's taken all of these folks that are assembled and many others to make sure that we're looking out for our seniors, those more experienced Philadelphians who need good quality places to live and should have them, and the government should support those efforts. And so we have some money in, and the state has some money in, and Councilwoman Bass was focused on this particular development, and so I just want to ask you to give her a big round of applause. The building is here because the community said they wanted it to be here, and this activity started before I was mayor, but folks in the 05, 06 or so neighborhood said, no, we're going to save this one, we're going to figure it out, and we're pleased, our administration, pleased to be able to support this particular effort. So, notwithstanding what's going on outside, and it is cold and rainy out there, it is warm and filled with love in this place, and I want to congratulate you all, I want to commend you all, I want to thank you for your commitment. You saved us, sometimes you save us from ourselves, and help us to make the right decision, because folks spoke up, stood up, and spoke out, and for that I want to say thank you.
As we prepare to pray, I want to quote from Psalm 127, verse 1, that says, "Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. And except the Lord watch over the city, the watchman waketh but in vain." And so as we gather on this solemn and rainy, but yet joyous occasion, we celebrate with Nugent Senior Apartments and all of the development team. And so we want to unite in prayer at this time, and whatever your posture of prayer is, I ask that you take that now as we go to God in prayer. O God of every blessing, we come to give thanks and to ask your blessing upon these who have returned to you this dwelling place, that you may bless it. We know that it is in you that we live and we move and have our being. So now we ask now that your spirit would rest upon this place, that the guardian angel would protect those who reside with them. And if for some reason, adversity, sickness, sorrow, pain will come, we pray for your healing, your comfort, and your blessing, that those who abide in this place, that you will keep them as this their earthly place of residence, relaxation, and rest. These blessings we ask in the name of the one who was and is and who will be forevermore. Now the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Together we say amen. Amen. Thank you. 3, 2, let's go.